Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shaunna Lee, the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Hey, friends. Another Simply Shaunna episode for you today. And what we are talking about is creating clarity through decluttering. Now, I know this probably sounds a little far-fetched even for me, but stick with me. I promise it'll be worth your time. So here's the thing about decluttering. A lot of times we fill our physical space with stuff for all sorts of reasons. We are busy. We don't put focus on it. It seems overwhelming. Insert whatever reason you have for having a lot of shit in your space. I am going to focus today's episode on talking to you about my office specifically. But I have told an example of this in my Align course. I have told a story about this in my divorce book. There is a theme to, I know some shit works and I don't always do it in my real life. Okay. So this episode is an excellent example of that. I can know something will work and I'm also still human. And for whatever reason, I don't always do the thing I know I should do. Right. Okay. So let's start there with, I know that to be true about everything I'm about to tell you. But when I told you the example, I want to say maybe I told this in Align. So sidebar, Align is a program that I created, which was essentially teaching you how to align your mind, body, spirit in the most focused, balanced way for you. And so what I do in that is talk about all these aspects of our body and all these aspects of our mind and all these aspects of our soul and who we are on a soul level. And how do you integrate those three things well and together? And that's what I teach you how to figure out on your own in that course. And it's stupid low priced. Like I should be charging way more than this, than I am. But fundamentally, what I believe about this course is I am going to teach you how to find that balance for yourself. And you're going to kind of figure out what it's like to learn from me in an online course. So it's kind of that entry point to, I don't know, do I like this girl enough to listen to her in other courses and pay more money for more in-depth learnings? But really, it's kind of my gift to you to hear the tools you need to figure out what is your most aligned self. So the ways I see that play out is when I am, let's say, having a frustrating period of time with an ex-husband. Listen, I have plenty of these examples and opportunities. I have learned that when I align myself and focus and balance myself, I respond better in those scenarios. When I am trying to get into the creative flow to write my next book, or I've got a little bit of writer's block, if I align myself, I will be able to focus my efforts and actually move forward on the writing. So I see it play out for me personally in oh so many ways. And it's the first step that I give each of my coaching clients is entrance into this program, because this isn't really work that you should have to do with someone else. And you could read a book, you could listen to a podcast, you could do all these things. There's all sorts of ways to kind of piece it together. But what I've done in this course is tell you, here are the things to try here. Here are the things to try here. And under each of those three pillars, as I call them, your body, mind, spirit, you get to figure out what your thing is. And then oh shit, I'm out of alignment. Oh, I'm having a hard time focusing. Or, oh, I don't feel very clear about my directions in my business. One of the ways that I have said to do this in that particular program is through decluttering. This is under the body category. And body for me is not just your physical body, but it's also your physical environment. It's your space that you live in. So in that course, I gave the example of cleaning out my closet. And which, side note, my closet, now that my boyfriend has moved in, has become my podcast recording studio. So I am sitting in this space as I speak to you. Um, and what I have found about clearing my closet and decluttering is um, I like to try to be funny and say I do this twice a year when our seasons change in Texas, because we basically have summer and not summer. And our not summer is, like maybe if we're lucky half the year, but it's winter, fall, and spring all kind of wrapped together because it's generally the same temperatures. Anyways, twice a year when our season changes from summer or to summer, whichever it is changing from or to, I will generally declutter my closet. And that's when I put away winter clothes or pull them out. And I will go through, as a rule of thumb, I actually have done this thing where you switch your hangers around backwards, you flip them around, and then through the course of that season, as you wear an item of clothing, and then you put it back and you hang the hanger the correct way. And at the end of the season, if you still have hangers that are flipped backwards, that shit goes. That's what you purge. You're not wearing it. You might have thought it's still cute and I'm going to wear it, but you didn't. So off it goes to Goodwill to serve someone else in a better way. Anyway, so I actually do that one. And so when I'm going through my closet, these periods of times, I will go through and purge the things I'm not wearing. I will get rid of things that are no longer trendy or in style, or here's a big one, don't actually fit me. And if at the end of the season it still doesn't fit me, okay, by the time I'm that size again, if I am again, then I can just buy a new shirt or I can buy a new pair of pants. And that's the harder one to do, I will admit. But getting rid of things that do not serve you any longer does two things in your closet. It creates physical space in your closet to hang something that does fit you and something that you will wear. And it frees up emotional space. And when you create space, whether it is physical or it is emotional, and I'm going to argue that clearing out your closet does both, it allows the universe room to input new, amazing things. If you are keeping clutter in your space, you're not allowing the universe room to work. You're not allowing room for good things to come into your life, whether that is energetically or physically. Like if you like to shop, you physically don't have room to put new shit in your closet if you're hanging on to old stuff that you don't need anymore, if you're wanting to look at it from a very practical perspective. I generally am looking at it from an energetic and emotional perspective. And when I walk into a closet with a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit me anymore, it feels terrible. I don't enjoy the act of picking out clothes because I constantly am looking at things that don't fit me. Makes me feel fat and horrible about myself. Like it does not do me any favors to keep stuff in my closet that doesn't fit me. Okay. So cleaning out your closet is the one example that I share in Align, and I'm pretty sure I talked about it in my book. But that actually wasn't what I was going to talk to you today about. I was going to talk to you about my office. So when this beloved boyfriend of mine moved into my house and I got to share my closet, that was amazing. And I'm being completely sarcastic because sharing my closet is a whole thing. But we got there and I'm sitting in this closet with a lot of his stuff and all of my stuff. And we're working on integrating more and more of his things. But as a result of him moving in, I swapped offices. And he is now officing where I used to. And I have converted what was my children's playroom into my office. Getting myself to this emotional space was one whole step. And I could talk about that whole thing in another episode. But what happened as a result of us making that move of offices meant that everything that was in my office had to go somewhere else. And it didn't physically fit in the new space, even though the new space was bigger. it was that I was attempting to do too much with that room is what the conclusion I drew. But as a result, there were things that went into what would be my new office. There were things that went into my bedroom. There were things that I got rid of and purged and donated. There were things that went into um, closets. And then everything that was in that room that has now become my office had to be moved elsewhere. So then those things went to the living room or my children's 3 bedrooms or the garage or donated. And then each of those rooms that had new things, the living room then needed to be rearranged and purged, and we had to make room for things. And then each of the 3 bedrooms we did. It was like a domino effect throughout my entire house, and it started with moving my office. So I describe all of this to tell you that my house physically was in disarray for several weeks, maybe a little longer. And what I noticed was that I was getting really grouchy and I was frustrated more often, and I was not responding to the people who lived in this house with me very well at all. And so, we are humans. We all have shit to deal with. And mine was that I was recognizing an emotional impact to my physical space. And so, what did I do? I took my own advice and I was like, oh, I talked about this whole decluttering thing. So I don't know about you, but if I look at my entire house and every single room is disorganized, it's overwhelming. And I sort of have this paralysis of analysis type of scenario where I just freeze and think, oh, fuck, where do I start? So here's what I did. I started with my office. And I thought, okay, every other room is just going to wait for me to get to it. And I'm just going to single-handedly focus on just my office. And you may, if you follow me on Instagram, have seen the reel I created of the before and after. It went from hot mess to an amazing space that I love to work in now. And when I did this, and it took me several days, I had notes here and I wasn't even following them. It took me a long time to actually methodically focus my efforts on just that room. I would, pull something out to take it to another room and then get distracted, ADD brain with, oh, well, let me do this. And then, no, 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 come back, focus on the office. And so I had to just slowly and methodically focus on just that room. I got rid of things. I donated things. I threw away a lot of things. I moved things out of that space to where they needed to go. And when I did that, this was really hard for me, but I would just take the physical item to the other room and I would leave it there and walk away. And I just created piles in different rooms. By the 4th day, I had the room done. It was staged, decorated. I bought the painting on the wall that I have been eyeing for years. I made that space complete. And here's what happens. Anytime I do my closet and when I did my office, I walk into that space now and I just like take a deep breath and I feel my shoulders relax. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's nice. That feels better. And what I have found is that in those times, especially in that scenario where every other room was still in disarray, I would walk to the living room and think, oh my God, this place is a mess and this is out or blah, 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 right? I just walk back to my office, stand right there, just admire it, take a breath, and then be like, okay, is today the day I'm doing the dining room or the living room? Okay, I'm going to do the dining room. And then I just went to the next room and I did that same process in each room one at a time. And then in the moments that I'm feeling overwhelmed, I would go back to the room that was done. And every time I walk by my office, I'm like, oh, it's so lovely. It's beautiful. I love it. But here's what happened. And this is the whole reason I'm telling you that I was a grown-up and cleaned my office. Because that's essentially what it felt like. As I made slow progress and emptied my space, and created space to breathe easily. I was waking up less stressed out. I woke up on that fourth day and I outlined the entire season of this podcast in like a morning. And in that same morning, I planned half a dozen blogs that I'm planning to write and have written 2 of already. I created more focus and intention for that one day in 3 categories of my life than I had in the weeks prior to that. So I had a new focus for my job. I had a new focus for my purpose in life. I had a new focus for my home and how I was going to attack the rest of the organizing of the rest of the home. My whole point is this: physically decluttering your space is actually an energetic clearing. You are clearing space in your mind. It has an emotional benefit to you. It is so much bigger than just making your office look pretty and putting shit where it goes. So one of the things that I said in a line was, it comes down to this: when you're trying to balance body, mind, and spirit, your body is one aspect of it. And typically how you find your balance with that is to move your ass or move your shit. It really is that simple. It's not easy necessarily to do the work, but it really is that simple. Clear your space, move your body, because when you do that, it clears out the muck and the bad energy. And as you move your body, it does the same thing. This is why they tell you to exercise every day, because you're moving your body physically, and it is a way to release stagnant energy. And clearing your environment does the same thing. So that's kind of why we have to do both. It's why you want to have an organized space. It's why you want to have a clean environment. And it's why you want to move your body every day, because it's a way to move energy and keep things flowing and get you where you want to go. So that, my friends, is my tip for the day, and how you can create more clarity simply by decluttering a space in your home. So there you go. I hope you found that helpful. I can't wait to hear what space you clear, and I would love to see pictures of your before and after on what it physically looked like when you cleared out a closet or cleaned up an office. Or, maybe for you, it's that little space when you first walk in the door where everything lands. Just clearing out that landing space sometimes is like, oh, look how pretty that looks. Like, I will shit you not, when you walk into that space after you've cleared it, it feels different. And that feeling is what we're going after. So send me your before and afters. I can't wait to see them. And I will talk to you soon. Till next time. Are you ready to start meditating, but don't know where to start? Join me for the next 7 days, and I'll walk you through all you need to get started. My free email challenge will have you meditating in just 1 week. You'll be so glad you did. Sign up today at SimplyShaunna.com/meditation.